Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we're removing the side body moldings on a 2007 Chevy Avalanche. Before we get started, help my small channel out by smashing the subscribe button, thumbs up at the end of the video, and notification bell so you know I post new content. If you have a 2007 to 2013 era GM truck, so Tahoe, Yukon, Sierra, Silverado, Avalanche, the procedures I'm doing on this are going to be basically identical to those. So if you have something on those, more than likely I've done a video on this. Head over to the channel, search it up under Avalanche and see what's out there. Just hit 2007 and more than likely I've made a video for it on of the most common issues on these trucks. This one specifically though, GM put body moldings on the side of the trucks. Let's take a look at them. Okay, so they put this on here and I actually like the look of the body moldings on there. Over time though, the paint starts peeling, then the plastic starts warping. Now these ones are not that warped, guys. You can see this edge is lifting right here. But more than likely, if you own a truck of this era, even if your body molding doesn't look like that, say you have a Silverado, it's probably, depending on the color, it's probably going to be starting to warp or just look dingy and dirty. Now I'm going to show you step by step how to remove it. The tools that you need, I'll link them below so you can go to the Zone. They're super cheap. I don't like using chemicals. I'm not going to use a heat gun on this. Well, take that back. I'm going to use a heat gun only to slightly bend back this front one that I already took off because I actually might repaint them and put them back on. I haven't decided. Let's look at what the truck looks like with them on real quick. All right, so there's with it on. Let's go down here eye level. I think it does give it some dimension. Changes it up. It seems like most everybody's taking these off because they look bad. I kind of like the look of them. Alright, so that's what it looks like, and I'm going to show you once I get these off. They're held on by 3M tape, all-weather 3M tape. You can get Gorilla as long as it's exterior type double-sided tape. It's a thick foamy stuff. The one thing I will tell you, depending on your color, depending on how the car was cared for, your paint may be darker underneath those, so you may have a bar there. So if you can save them, you're not going to be able to buy new versions of these from GM. They're discontinued, so it makes sense, right? And most of them, even if you could get them, are probably going to come unpainted. So if yours don't look bad and they're just lifting from the tape and you intend on putting them back on, I'll link this color. This is the gray. Shoot, I don't remember, gray. I don't know, gray something or other. I'll put it down in the description. I got to go back and look at it. My head's got a punch list in my mind. There's stuff I got to do. Anyway, if you want to do that, those kits are acrylic, so they're probably going to last about 4 years if you take really good care of them and you do a really good job painting them. If you have no intent of keeping them, then who really cares? But if they're not bad and you don't want to put them back on, you just want to sell them raw, there probably is somebody out there who would love to have them, so put them on eBay or Craigslist or Facebook Market, whatever the heck it is, and give that a shot. Again, watch though when you take it off if your paint has faded in one side or another, or there may be buildup from people trying to buff down to the door trim itself, and they may have weakened the clear coat there. All right, so you can see right here, this is where the front one came off, and this is the adhesive that's left after I pulled it off and I scraped it with a plastic razor blade. I'm going to link those down below. If you guys don't have plastic razor blades in your tool kit and your arsenal of tools, they're super cheap. You got to get them. They're good for scraping anything from a stovetop to stuff on a car to soaps come out of your shower. Unlimited uses. They're not super sharp, so they're not going to cut your finger if you slip, and they're not going to damage the paint. You can look down here. These are just marks. These are going to come off. They're basically, when I put the tool down, it took some of the glue with it and brought it down. So you can see right here, this area started to be already cleaned up, and they're going to polish off them whenever we get them off. Another thing I'm going to encourage you guys to do is after years and years and years and years, dirt's going to build up behind here. I've already washed the truck a couple times, and it wasn't gross anyway, but you'll see how much dust falls out of there. So just be cognizant of that when you do that. Next, once we get the tool back there, again, if you're intending on reusing these or reselling them, don't just start peeling it and then start bending it and pulling it. It's going to ruin it. So, and this one is still straightened enough that if the adhesive tape sticks and you pull it hard, you could probably buckle your door here or anywhere. So we don't want to do that. So really, it's going to be one little tool, no heat gun unless you want to try and bend them back if they're a little warped and reuse them. Some plastic razor blades, some Goo Gone. I don't like using acetone. And I really don't like those decal removers, those things you put in a drill. And I'm sure some people do like them, and some people say, well, you're just using the wrong technique. Listen, I will tell you this. If you are not careful and it's your first time using it, you can, one, burn your paint. You can have it slip or turn or gouge the paint. So I don't like them. They make a mess. And really, with just some elbow grease and some Goo Gone and a rag and the plastic razor blades, you're going to get all of this crap off. And I think they're like 15, 16 bucks. I'll link one below if you guys really had a desire to grab one, but I don't have one. I've used them before. I don't like them. They really heat up the paint, and I don't like that. So we're not gonna do that. So, all right. So first things first, we already got this front one removed. We're gonna go get the tool. I'll show it to you. All right, so this is the tool I'm going to use. This is actually a body panel trim remover. It came in this monster size kit of stuff. It's super cheap. This actually came in my glue and PDR set, and I think it was less than $50 on the Zon. I'll link it below. But you can probably buy this separately without having to buy the kit. This is rigid enough to do it. You can use a Bondo spreader if you have one. Bondo is just a generic name I use. Bondo is actually a brand of body filler, but no matter what brand these are, I call them Bondo spreaders. It'll probably ruin this because this is a little bit softer, so you won't be able to use it for body filling applications. But these are super cheap, and the reason why I like this other one, it's bigger, so when I get in there and start prying, I have a little bit more room to actually get it underneath there. And then this is the kit of plastic razor blades. I think it comes with like 1,000, and then it comes with 2 of those little attachments there for the actual scraper, or for the razor blades to be a scraper. And you'll probably burn through 3 or 4 of these on the door itself, just getting the adhesive down to this level. But again, they're super cheap. I think they're less than $8, and we've used them all over. So again, we're gonna see, I've washed this. It's hypothetically as clean as it's going to get. And you can start back at this edge where it's really tight down. But I'm going to start at that edge right there because that one's already lifting. Now, if you think you're going to put them back on, I would get some painter's tape, clean off the door, some rubbing alcohol, and put some painter's tape down at the top edge of this. So that way you can line them back up and put them back on. If you have a good eyeball, then you can do that yourself. But if you're not, then just get some blue painter's tape and mark that. Now, because I think I'm going to put these back on after I repaint them, because I like the look, and every other Avalanche I see already has them taken off. I just think adds a little bit of dimension to the smooth body. So we're gonna put some painter's tape on there real quick, and then we're gonna start at that edge. All right, so that's what I mean by painter's tape. I would put a big piece on there because if anything, if you mar this bottom edge, then you could always measure from the top edge here down and get a straight line and mark it before you put them back on. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this little tool, and we're going to start here at the back, and we're basically going to just push down through the adhesive tape, and we're just going to work down through it. Then you can go from the bottom. And I know a lot of people say, well, if we heat it up, it'll work better. The heat might just damage these, unless you're just super good with a heat gun. I've seen a lot of people get a little too close, burn their hands or whatever. So we'll just take that element out. So we're just going to push down through this end because it has tape all the way around. Push down through there, come up to the bottom, and work our way all the way down to the very end. Now once you get about 3 or 4 inches, you can actually tilt it on its side and just push it up through and go right down this thing all the way. You don't have to go straight up and down here. All right, so that's that removed, guys. And this is what it looks like on the back. Now if you're going to restore them, you will need to remove all of that adhesive on there. And they are marked so you shouldn't screw the pair up. And like I said, they're in pretty good condition. So I think with just a little bit of the heat gun, I can lay some weights on there and get that flat again, and it'll stay. Now after this, again, we're going to take our plastic razor blade. And like I said before, there's 2 different modes of thought here. Heat gun, will help lift this stuff. But to be honest with you, if you just kind of get a little edge there and start working your way through it, whether you want to start in the middle or wherever, it's tedious for sure. You know, I just like to saw it off if you can get a good strip. If you heat it up, the adhesive is going to get more sticky, again, on your tools and everything else like that. So me personally, I like to just take my razor blade and work through it. Again, I've seen people try and remove these body panels with screwdrivers. That is probably a good way to damage your paint. Now, I do have to say that, you know, if you take your time doing this, it took me less than 30 seconds to run this tool through the backside of the molding and get it off. The hardest part is going to be getting the adhesive off. So I think their tape was actually, or their adhesive tape was better than the paint job they put on those things. So, you know, it's just up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and keep working on getting this stuff off. And now I'll show you how I use Goo Gone on the when it gets down to the base layer of that, and rub it on and work on getting it off. All right, now I got that off. I got the first layer off with my Goo Gone. The reason why I use this is because it won't damage your paint. I've heard some people trying to take acetone. Again, this is like 15-year-old paint, 16, 17-year-old paint. I don't like using anything like that on my vehicles, but you'll just put a little dab on there. I wouldn't use paper towel because the paper towel will soak it all the way through and then it ends up just running onto your hands. I'm wearing a glove just because this stuff will make your hands greasy. But just rub it on there, and then you can see down there it actually took it all off once I got to this layer. But once you let it just sit on there, the Goo Gone will actually saturate. You can go back over with a razor blade again. And then I only went through one razor blade. And you can see I got it up in strips initially the first time. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and just apply some Goo Gone to both sides of this again and then work it off. All right, so I got it wrapped up, so now I'm gonna show you what it looks like off. So that's what it's gonna look like. You decide you wanna take them off, leave them off, and don't refinish them. Again, I'm still kind of torn as to what I wanna do with that. But it does look really good with just the Avalanche emblem and keeping it nice and smooth. I guess the body lines. And again, unless you're going to go down to your Napa or wherever you can get some automotive grade base coat and clear coat, if you do it with the cans and the brand stuff I got off the Zon, it's probably only going to last about 2 or 3 years, kind of like a Mako paint job. It's cheap and stuff. But if you want to spend that extra money, you have a professional spray gun, then you can obviously try that. Now, this video is only like 10 minutes long, so you guys are going to want to know, okay, so how long does this really take you? Because it's not like an episode of CSI where they can solve a crime in an hour. So the longest door took me 35 minutes. That's because the top edge left a trailing edge from the tape, and so it had to really be soaked. But what I recommend doing is pull each piece of trim off around the whole car, and then clean off one door, saturate it with the Goo Gone. Go to the next door, clean off the first layer again, soak with Goo Gone. By the time you get to your fourth door and come back, you can just take your razor blade. All I did was that plastic razor blade. I came back each time, peeled it off like a fruit roll-up, resaturated with Goo Gone. I didn't even use half a bottle of Goo Gone, and saturated it, went to the next door, cleaned it off like a fruit roll-up, wiped it with Goo Gone, did all 4 doors. So like I said, the longest one's 35 minutes. The shortest one was 20. That was the passenger side. Rear door, again, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just the way the adhesive came off onto the original piece and how much was left. But it really didn't take that long. So it's gonna take you about 2 hours to probably do this project. And that took no power tools, no fancy decal removing wheel or anything like that. Nothing caustic on the paint. The paint didn't get damaged at all because your drill slipped out of your hands or that rubber thing burned the paint. So really, it was pretty easy. And I think just about anybody could do it, especially if you have somebody in the house that also likes peeling stuff. Have them come out and help you too. I went through 10 of those razor blades, those plastic razor blades. And again, those you got to get for your garage and for your house. Those are just fantastic. They'll even take tree sap off your hood. So it's without scratching it. So it's pretty good. Now I do say this with a caveat because I've seen people damage stuff or break stuff for no rhyme or reason because they did it wrong. If you follow this procedure the way I did it, you should not damage your paint. If you use these items, there's no reason to have the paint be damaged from chemicals or anything. But I have to say that if you just do it willy-nilly, I suppose you could do it, but nonetheless, I didn't have any issues. So hopefully that helped you guys to understand how to remove the side body trim moldings on a GM truck from 2007 to 2013. No matter what it is, with less than $20 worth of stuff. And again, if you have good moldings, you don't want to put them back on, throw them back up on eBay or something, so that way somebody that does want those trims can get them or sell them, however, because it'll definitely help somebody out because you can't buy them again. Again, that is the lowest part of the door, so that is the furthest part that sticks out, so the first part to get hit. So I understand the premise why they're there, but they don't hold up very well over time. So if you were going to put a different trim on there, just go buy some 2-inch body molding and slap it on there. As always, guys, appreciate you guys being here. We're going to catch you on the next one.